is something else. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys. This is CJ. This is Homeowners for Justice. I'm talking with Randy Frodsham on filing notary complaints, and we've had some pretty interesting technical difficulties this morning, and I apologize. It strikes me funny because this is a tremendously important topic. So I'm not sure where it stopped performing, where Livestream stopped sending. So Randy's agreed. He's still here on the line. We're going to start from basically review the beginning of this notary complaint so that everyone can actually find this information. And I've been taking notes because here's what's on the screen right now is the Homeowners for Justice, and it's the false document affidavit webpage. This webpage is changing daily because I'm getting links from Renee, which those are the first ones that we had on Thursday, from what is a counter recorder down here to the notary complaint. And then over the weekend, I've been adding information about building evidence for false document affidavit. The plan is to generate an affidavit, and it just is basically a statement, which I've drafted a boilerplate, and I'm working with some people. I'll be getting that up later today as a draft that every owner can use the correct paragraphs that work for them and generate this document that has the exhibits of these recorded documents and cites the law in that state. Right now I've done it for California, and also then goes down and states the violations that each one of these affidavits, each one of these documents has done. And then I will include, Randy and I'll work together to include these notary complaints into that, because it depends on the kind of response you're going to get from your notary complaints. But to file a notary complaint, it takes time, and it is a process, and it varies by state. So down here near the bottom of this false document affidavit webpage, I've got, Randy sent to us all of these documents here that I've linked this morning, and we've been talking through them, and since Livestream blew up, I'm just going to do a quick summary of this stream. Here's the spreadsheet of the current notaries, which you can download from the website. Here's what it's going to look like. And
Excuse me, CJ?
Yeah, go ahead.
That it's my understanding that the notary list is updated weekly by the Secretary of State's office.
All right, so this is a very current list.
I pulled that one down yesterday.
All right, this is very current. It has the name of the notaries. There's over 15,000 names, by the way. It's a pretty big spreadsheet.
155.
155, excuse me, 155,000.
5,000. You're only accounting for 1/10 of the population.
Sorry, that's okay. So here's the names, the company, the address, the city, state, zip. This is column G is the county list, and I will convert that number into the correct county. I'll work on that later today. Here's their commission number and the expiration date. So this address list is what we would use to request the journal list from the notaries.
Entry.
Right, the journal entry for the signer name, right?
Correct.
Okay. And this is, when you get that from the notary, this is what it should look like, something like this. This is just a copy of a journal entry somebody else got and sent me, and it's from Shannon Stieg. She's the notary, and this is Malik Basurto. And on this journal entry, which is linked, by the way, on Shannon Stieg's documents on the notary fraud page, where I have that long list of all those people, that's where this is included, both in Malik and Shannon's documents. Here is a California driver's license number. So we're assuming that that number is Malik's. That's correct, right? That would be Malik's number?
It should be the signer's number.
The signer. Yep, should be the signer. You'll notice there's a thumbprint over here because California requires a thumbprint. Now, Randy, you said only 16 states require these journals. How many require?
16 states require journals or record book, and some of those do not even require a signature in the record book, only a record that a notarial act was done.
Okay.
Texas being one of those states. Now, I've requested journals entries from Texas notaries, and so far I've been very lucky in that every record book has an entry with a signature. However, if you read Texas law, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay, if you read Texas law, the record book does not have to have a signature in it.
And they don't.
I'm not going to tell them that.
Exactly. And they don't do thumbprints, right?
And they don't require thumbprints either, no.
Okay, I just wanted to point out again to everybody watching that these records have thumbprints. Maybe it would be fascinating if somebody had access to that kind of data to find out exactly whose thumbprints these are.
Well, also, there was a assembly bill passed in February of last year. I don't know when it took place, but I know it had to have taken place by January the 1st of this year. All documents, notarized documents that are going to be recorded require that a thumbprint be in the journal now in California. It used to be, but as of at least January the 1st of this year, if it's a notarized document and it has to do with real property, there better be a thumbprint there.
Right, okay. And so at least if your notaries are in California, you have some extra rights and protections. I have up on the screen the notary requirements state by state. You can see that. Here's the state notary record book requirements.
Seeing that on the screen, CJ.
Yep. Well, I think what you're seeing is...
It seems to be locked up on the journal entry.
It may take a couple of seconds. I think what shows up is delayed. And so then, once we get the journal entry, if we get the signature and the driver's license, then we can request the DMV registration. And so I have up on the screen the request for record information from the Department of Motor Vehicles. This would be California again. And then while we're doing that, wouldn't you recommend, Randy, that we also file the notary complaints at the same time?
Absolutely. That's what this is all about, is to ultimately file a notary complaint.
So
now, there's also, when I do a notary complaint, I have 9 or 10 different parties that I CC a copy of the complaint. Because I don't want anybody to be able to have an excuse that we didn't know that there was a problem.
Right.
Which I think is the biggest problem that we have, because everybody's assuming everybody else is letting somebody know. And having been an investigator with the state of California, I can tell you that very little time do they have to go out and just nose around, snoop around, and find things on their own. They have to be told and shown.
Right. And once they have that documentation, then what is their can you insist with this that they stop using that document to proceed with a foreclosure?
No, you cannot. As long as it's a legitimate document, the format is legitimate, and it has been accepted for recording, that thing is going to go forward like a freight train. There's nothing going to stop it. Now, I have a friend, actually he wrote the book on the notary complaint, and basically I took what he wrote and I applied what I learned as an investigator with the state, and I just gone and done it. But he filed a complaint with the California Secretary of State. The California Secretary of State won't hesitate to tell you, if you call them on the telephone, that when you file a notary complaint, it takes about a year for them to look at the complaint. He was able to, for a period of about 18 months, about a week or two before the scheduled date, when there was a sale date scheduled, what he would do is fax a copy of the open notary complaint that is still working with the Secretary of State's office to both the lender and to the trustee that was doing the foreclosing and holding the auction, with a cover letter advising them that the complaint was still open, that the Secretary of State had not yet ruled on the validity or veracity of the complaint. And that if they chose to go forward with the sale and the DM and the Secretary of State finds a problem, they could be forced to just unwind the whole thing, which is going to add expense to it. And basically, every time his sale came up, his sale got postponed.
Not just unwind, but be liable to all future purchasers.
Well, that too.
You know,
if they unwound it, then it'd go back to the original owner.
Exactly.
Around the trustee's deed upon sale.
All right. So with I can see here from talking this through with you, there's a couple of other letters that I would like to have drafted. I'm going to call them boilerplate letters that people can use. One would be the boilerplate for the journal entry to the notary, and one would be a boilerplate to the trustee, foreclosure trustee for the auction, pointing out the open notary complaint. So if and when...
As I said, he in that particular instance, he did not write letters. He did it by fax.
Well, I mean, you still write something and then you get it to
have
them.
A cover yes, you will have a cover sheet.
Yeah, and whatever you gave to them would be in writing. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Just because I say it's a letter doesn't mean we mail it, other than sometimes you mail it certified signed receipt requested to make sure they got that.
Yes.
But then that boilerplate letter would be very helpful too, so that people can actually just, that don't have to draft it, don't have to remember. They can just go down the checklist and say, oh, now's the time, I've got this. I'm going to send it out again because I still have an open notary complaint. And then...
now, people have to understand there's no guarantee that they're going to get the same result that Rob did.
Right, but we can cite the law. And I'm telling you, I've cited some pretty heavy-duty law on the false document affidavits. I really hope that we can get some... change on that, so some real wind blowing in our direction, because I'm citing
would be a nice
all of
change.
the law. Yeah, the owners have just been run roughshod over. We've just been lied to, cheated, and have our property stolen. So here you've got some. I'd like to show the prohibited notary acts, because here it is, notarizing a document without the signer being in the notary's presence.
Yep.
And when we have, they don't actually say, because it's just fraud, it's forgery when they're notarizing documents that of people that don't even exist, or of totally different signatures on the same name. They don't have that listed here that I can see, but that is basically fraud and a violation of the penal code, right? Yeah. Okay, why don't you tell us the next thing about about Texas? You've got some few things up here on Texas.
Now, just before I do that, one quick question: did I send you a Word document that I created for the California notary complaint? Because all that they have available on the Secretary of State's website is a fixed PDF form. It's not fillable. You got to print it, and then you got to enter everything by hand. I took everything, and I think I sent you a copy.
Yes, you did, and here it is. I'm opening it up right now.
The document that you can just fill in.
Right, as a Word document. And that's also linked on that website. Here it is. I have it open on the screen right now. It's a Word document complaint form that you can just type on instead of having to,
To handwrite.
Yeah, handwrite and print something in on a PDF document.
Yeah, I made a comment regarding the state of Texas that you cannot get a copy of a signature for a Texas signer.
Okay.
In the state of Texas, they have a DMV, but DMV in Texas only handles vehicle registration. If you have a license plate number for the person's vehicle in Texas, you might be able to get something there, but you're not going to have that to the best of my knowledge. The Texas Department of Public Service issues their driver's licenses, and you cannot get a signature from that department.
Great.
I tried.
Now, he also has, you've also, though, Randy, given us the Texas Notary Complaint Form, which I'm opening right now, and in Word doc format. Here it is on the screen. And it's
They
also,
provide it.
yeah, it's also linked to the website. So you can just open that up. They should probably just save it on their computer, right, and then fill it out?
Exactly. Now, most states honestly don't even have a form.
Right.
For those states that don't have a form, I take some other state's form, I eliminate the identification referring to the state, and then I just use the form because it makes it easier just to lay things out in a reasonable fashion, a make-sense fashion, so that whoever reads it doesn't get just a bunch of gobbledygook like it's a handwritten letter to your brother or something.
You know, I've just looked at this Texas form. I think everybody ought to copy that. Copy the format. Notice what they did on this form. They have some instructions, and which are excellent. In fact, I'd even expand the California complaint to match, because they talk about witness or attachments and the execution, and then they've got these various pages for the attachments. So the first thing is, of course, they just fill in the notary complaint, the notary information, your information as the complainant, any witnesses, the allegations, execution, which has to be notarized, and then they have an attachment A, a copy of the letter to the notary requesting the copy of the record. And that's what we want. That's the journal request. And then they have attachment B, proof of delivery. So that would be your certified signed receipt requested. And then C, receipt for payment to Notary Public for copy of record. And then they have another attachment, copy of the recorded assignment of deed of trust. And then you highlighted these things in yellow. I'm assuming those would be edited, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, you know, this can work for any state. This is just a basic format layout in a Word document. So this makes it really handy for everything that the owners send out to look official. So here's the Texas application for appointment as Texas Notary Public. So this would be the California. We could use this for the bond, right? For the bond and oath. Mm-hmm. We could change that. Oh, and then they said here you could have side-by-side comparison of the signatures. So if that applies, you could actually, you know, put those there, a side-by-side comparison. This is a very nice format. I think I've put that on our website as the Texas Notary Complaint Form, and I'm going to add to that this is easily edited for every state.
Those attachment pages are pages that I added to it.
Oh, Randy, those are fabulous. Okay, we're going to use them.
Well, it's my experience. It's what I used to do. What can I say?
Well, and this is the key. This is why Randy won. You know, if I apologize again. I don't know how much of the live stream was missing when it finally crashed on my computer and we've started fresh. But Randy is a longtime investigator and basically pretty much has a fabulous record, like a 99% win record when it comes to presenting evidence and you know, showing that these things are false and wrong. So
one thing I wanted to add
yes
is the list of CCs that I do when I do a notary complaint.
Oh yes, tell us what those are. I'm going to write them down.
Okay, basically, as you like to say, everybody on the planet. But I start with the city attorney for the city where the property is located.
Okay.
I go next to the elected county sheriff.
And this is where the property is, right?
elected position.
Right.
I go to the elected district attorney. Again, another elected position.
Right.
Most homeowners vote.
Exactly.
There's a correlation there.
Exactly.
The county supervisor for the district where the property is located. You want to get your county recorders to start doing something, go to the people that affect their budget.
Exactly. And vote for them.
Budget is the county soups they literally control the budget for every county office.
Right. Right. And this would be all for
Where the money is.
This is where the property is located, correct?
Where the property is located, yes, ma'am.
Yep, go ahead.
Next, go to the state attorney general,
Right.
where the property is located. This grocery list should work in any state, in any county, in any city, anywhere in the country.
Right. Right.
Now, as far as where the notary is located, again, go to the county sheriff at the notary's end. The county district attorney at the notary's end. The U.S. attorney for the district where the notary is located. The state attorney general for the state where the attorney is located. And that's in addition to the proper agency for filing your notary complaint.
Right. So if it was in California, well, if the notary's in Texas, then you would, but the property's in California, you'd file the city attorney for the property, the sheriff, DA, and the supervisor over the district of where the property is located, plus California Attorney General if the property's in California. And then the notary would be in Texas, so you would, let's say, and so you would file...
Look up the county in Texas. What county it's in Texas.
That's right, the county of whatever the notary is in, and it says right on the assignment or the trustee substitution, so it's not a big secret.
Yeah.
So you go to that county sheriff...
Secret, but Texas does have over 250 counties.
Oh, gee. Well, it still says on the...
It says on the stamp.
On the well, and it says on every assignment and trustee substitution I've seen it says state and county. It has that as part of that notarization verbiage, and so it may be hard to read on the stamp, but it does say that on the, and I've highlighted them on the packets of forgery documents that I've uploaded on the website, and so send to the sheriff, the DA, and the U.S. attorney for that district, for the notary, for whichever district
and
that
the state
county is
attorney
in.
general for the notary.
And then that would be the Texas state attorney general if the notary was in Texas.
And last but not least, you send a copy to the notary's bonding company.
How do we find that information out?
Well, Texas, when you get the information regarding the notary from the Secretary of State, it includes the bonding information. California, your county recorder has the bonding information. Now, the county recorder, you kind of have to understand something about the notaries to find it. Every notarized document, the notary stamp has an expiration date on it.
Right.
The notary's oath and bond were recorded at the clerk's and or recorder's office and the state attorney or the state secretary of state's office for within 30 days of 4 years prior to the expiration date. So let me translate that to English. Let's say it was expiring January the 28th of 2013. That would be today.
Okay.
4 years from 2013 is 2009.
Okay.
So within 30 days of January the 28th of 2009, those documents have to be recorded with the clerk and the recorder.
I see. And so if the document a person has was notarized yesterday, and the commission just started 3 days ago for that notary, they may not be able to yet get the oath and bond.
It might take them a month to get it, correct.
Right. Okay. All right. All right. That makes sense.
Although it's my understanding, I don't think they're supposed to start notarizing documents until they've done the recording stuff that they need to do.
And that's probably right. That's probably right. So here's a sample again of their oath and bond that Randy sent to us to look at.
Now, as far as the oath is concerned, the documents look pretty much the same for everybody. As far as the bond is concerned, different bonding companies have different formats.
Right. Now, you got John Seacrest. You got that by going to the county clerk.
Correct.
And so if you walk in...
Actually, I didn't get it. The homeowner got it and scanned it and emailed it to me.
Okay, and then they mailed a letter to the county clerk? Or they went in? They mailed a letter?
Went in. They physically went in. Remember, the oath is the clerk, the bond is the recorder. I lost you again.
No, I'm still here. I'm making a note. oath is the recorder. The bond is the clerk.
Real quiet.
Okay, the oath is recorder. The bond is the clerk.
Correct. No, the other way around. The oath is the clerk.
Clerk. And
Bond is the recorder.
recorder.
I know. I made a fool of myself at the San Diego recorder's office trying to get a copy of the oath.
Okay. All right. And so...
And they insisted they didn't have it. And the right answer was they didn't have it. However, across the hall was in the clerk's office.
Right. Okay. And
So
so
that's the voice of experience speaking.
exactly. And so can you send a letter in instead requesting this, or do you have to go in personally?
Well, you're going to be going, let's talk about the bond first. You're going to be going in to get certified copies of all your documents. I only like doing things one time, personally.
Okay.
So get everything one time. Include the bond when you go in.
Right.
Now, as far as the oath is concerned, I've got it branded in my brain, at least, that the oath is in a different place. Now, if the clerk's office is handy, you might just run over to the clerk's office and see what you can do at the clerk's office. Otherwise, for instance, in LA County, there's only one of the 2 or 3 branch offices of the recorder's office that you can get actually go to the clerk and get a copy of an oath, and you have to go to Norwalk for that. You can't go to any branch office of the clerk in LA County. I don't know whether it works that way anywhere else, but I do know it works that way in LA.
And you can't just mail in?
Well, if you're going to mail it, I think it's cheaper if you get it from the Secretary of State. And obviously, you're not going to be driving to Sacramento. So you would mail a request to the Secretary of State where you can get a certified oath for $6.
Right. But the bond is the bond? Like, see, this is in Ventura. And the notary public oath is Ventura, and I apologize, the notary thing is Secretary of State is upside down. But this is the bonding, and so the bond has to be recorded.
The bond is recorded at the recorder within 30 days of the granting of the commission. The document you're showing right now is the stamped the imprinted document is
Right.
a moot document. You really don't need that.
Right. But the bonding that is recorded at the recorder's office, but which recorder's office? Of Ventura County in this case?
Correct. Yes.
All right.
That is the only place you get the bond is at the county recorder where the notary in the county where the notary's based out of.
And can we send a letter then for that? Because we're not in Ventura County.
I've never sent a letter. I'll just answer your question that way. I don't know. As I said, when people go to the recorder's office to get their certified documents, they're there. Why don't they kill all the birds with one stone?
But the oath and bond we can get from the Secretary of State.
No, the oath only can you get
Only
from
oath.
the Secretary of State.
So the only place we can find the bond is in the county.
Correct. County recorder.
And so the fact of the matter is most of the people do not live in Ventura County. I mean, so how do they go about doing this?
What I would suggest is to call the Ventura County Recorder and ask, how do I get a certified copy of this bond? And they will direct you, and you will have to write a letter.
Okay, so that means another little letter that we're going to be writing, certified letter.
Yes. And personally, I do recommend that all letters be mailed certified, if for no other reason when it's received.
Right, signed receipt requested.
When you send a letter certified to the notary, you use the green card. Any other time, if you're sending it to a government entity, even the CCs on the notary complaint are sent certified.
Right.
I don't see the purpose of a green card because I've never seen a government office decline a certified mailing.
Okay. All right. But if you got this signed receipt requested, you would know for sure it got there. That would be one of the...
You can track it on USPS.com, too.
Okay. All right.
You can track it online, and like I said, I've never heard of a government office declining a certified mailing, so save yourself $1.50, $2 for each you mail.
For each mailing. All right. And so this...
It's quite tough.
So if you... let's summarize one more time, and then I'm going to make the webpage match this. The notary complaints are basically separate from the false document affidavit work that we're doing. However, they could be combined if you'd already gotten all of the notary complaint information back. You could combine that into the false document affidavit. But I personally think, since some of these things are going to take a month, I believe we need to zip out the false document affidavits right away, and we can do that immediately because it just means getting the certified copies of the documents from the recorder's office and then using that to adjust the false document affidavit to match the situation for that owner and that property. And then sending those out, again, the idea was similar to what Randy is saying for the notary complaint, would be sending it out to the county recorder, the district attorney, the sheriff, the supervisor of that that's over that property.
Jay, I'm very interested in looking further into this affidavit that you're referring to and seeing if it might be able to be used hand in glove with a lot of the CCs going to law enforcement agencies.
I think so
too. The sheriff, etc.
I finished drafting it last night. I've sent out copies, for feedback to a couple of people. Sorry, Randy, I forgot to send you a copy. It's about 5 pages, and I just have, again, boilerplate paragraphs with things in brackets so that you can, okay, this is an assignment, this is a trustee substitution, you can name the documents.
Right. The one concern I would have, though, is when you send something to law enforcement, you don't want to send them something saying, I think there might be a problem. They don't have time to deal with, I think there might be a problem. What you need to do when you send something to a law enforcement agency is you have to include some sort of a signature or something that is an example from the real person themselves. Because that now can be used as real evidence.
And so here's the question. This is the classic question and the issue, and that is, if, like you said, in many of these cases there may not be a driver's license, you may not be able to get, quote, an official signature, but the prima facie evidence of 15 different signatures on this same name, with the same bank they're supposed to be representing, that if you had copies of all of those signatures, like they were, like you pointed out, the comparison, wouldn't that's what O'Brien used in his registrar's office in Massachusetts. The fact is, they've got so many different
I understand
signatures.
what you're saying, CJ, but I don't happen to know what kind of laws the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has that O'Brien might have been able to point to allow him to do things that we don't have here in California. So I'm not gonna discuss that.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the signer's signature, getting a real copy of a notary signature is comparatively easy. I think
Right.
that's pretty darn clear.
Right.
However, the signer's signature, like I said, it takes a whole lot of work and a real healthy dose of luck to be able to come up with one of those. But I can tell people, if we have a few minutes still, I know we've run a little bit over time,
Yeah.
but I can tell people what I do when I go on a search for a signer's signature, if you like.
Real quickly, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And I commit to the viewers that Randy and I are gonna work through these affidavits, and I'm gonna change, the instructions to make it reflect what we've discussed today. And as we get the false document affidavit put together and some good decisions on how to move forward, we will certainly bring that to your attention. I'd like to be able to do that tomorrow. So, Randy, why don't you wrap it up with what he does? What do you do when you try to find somebody's signature?
First thing is I look at the document and try to figure out where it was that it got signed. Sometimes that in and of itself could be a real challenge to try to figure out.
Right.
But then once I figure out where it got signed, I have a term that I use. I call it commute distance. You have to find where the person lives. That person is going to live within commute distance of where they work, where that document was signed. Typically, that's going to be a 50 or 60-mile radius. And if you stop to think about that, that's a whole bunch of real estate and a whole bunch of probable homes and people that live there. I will search Google. I will search a database. It's called zabasearch.com. That's Z-A-B-A search, all one word, .com. I use whitepages.com. I use Facebook. I use LinkedIn. A lot of people have Facebook pages and have LinkedIn pages that will tell you where they are. I have found signers on Facebook. I've seen the pictures of signers on Facebook. You look for an address within 50 or 60-mile radius of where the document was signed. You keep your fingers crossed that they are the owner of that property and that they have a mortgage or deed of trust on the property with their signature on it. And you get a copy of that recorded document, as I did with Clavidenture. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. When you go into East Coast states, I had a homeowner I was working with once where it was the notary and the document were notarized in Delaware. The signer worked at the office in Delaware. The signer lived in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a different state. The thing of it is, Philadelphia was only 35 miles one way from where the document was signed.
Right.
When you get into the little dinky states on the East Coast, you might find a situation where you're looking for someone that lives in the state next door.
Right, exactly. Not like California where you can, if you're in Northern California, you're not signing in Southern California.
Exactly. And that's your understanding. Well, even anywhere west of the Mississippi, the states tend to be a whole lot bigger than they are east of the Mississippi.
Exactly.
But the reality of it is, you're going to hope that you're going to find someone within 50 or 60 miles. You're going to hope that they own the property. You're going to hope that there's a mortgage or deed of trust recorded against the property. There's a whole lot of hoping going on, and I've only had to pay off literally about 10% of the time.
Right. And so that's
to be honest.
And to be honest with you, Randy, that's why I'm looking to just amass all the different types of signatures and use that in the meantime, because the point right now is to turn this abstract. Fraud is abstract. You say the word, but you look around and you don't see anything that looks like fraud, and so people have it in there. You have to get it into something that's visual, tangible. We can touch it, see it, feel it, watch it stack up.
On Thursday, Renee also said that the law enforcement agencies don't want to hear that word.
I know.
They happen to understand that they don't want to hear that word because of what it takes to prove that word.
And so should we just call these mistakes on my document affidavits?
Well, if I'd be quite that ambiguous about it, I would definitely say that they are suspicious. I think I'd go for the word suspicious.
Oh, I like that word. All right, Randy. You know, it's been really good. I appreciate you sharing with us today. I apologize for some live stream issues. The fact is, these are very important topics, and they will get out to the public. And Randy and I will work to simplify, organize, make a checklist, write the boilerplate letters so that they're easily editable, and every owner that wants to fight back and postpone their auction has some extra tools to do so. Thanks again for joining us, Randy, and this is CJ Holmes, founder of Homeowners for Justice, signing off for today. Thanks. See you tomorrow.